Fear never starts in your thoughts. It starts in your body. A notification hits. A name appears on the screen. Someone calls you out in front of others. Before you can think positive, your chest is tight, your throat is dry, your hands feel wrong. Your brain starts throwing ideas like smoke grenades. Run, explain, apologize, joke, lie. But the truth is simple. Your body already decided you were in danger. You keep trying to fix fear at the mindset level while your nervous system quietly laughs and does whatever it wants. That's why you can know you're safe and still shake. That's why you can repeat affirmations and still stutter. That's why you can understand the situation logically and still feel like a small animal trapped in a bright room. Machiavelli watched men in war, in court, in power. What impressed him wasn't speeches. It was people who stayed usable under pressure. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. You already have willingness. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. The problem isn't your desire to be brave, it's that your body has old training. It learned years ago that raised voices, silence, exams, authority, crowds, or conflict meant danger. It stored that as programming. Now every time something even smells like that, your system hits play on the old tape. Heart rate up, breath shallow, shoulders closing, eyes dropping, words collapsing. You keep calling this overthinking, but what's actually happening is overreacting. Your nervous system is doing its job too well, at the wrong moments. The dark reset is not about becoming fearless. That's a lie people sell to sound strong. The reset is about teaching your body a new rule. Fear can scream, but it doesn't get the steering wheel. Your body only understands sequences. It doesn't understand your motivational speeches. If every time pressure hits, you follow the same sequence, panic, rush, shrink, over-explain, regret, your nervous system learns that as your identity. It thinks, this is who we are under stress. Next time, it doesn't even ask you. It just runs the script. So you don't argue with fear. You give it a different script to run. You build a new ritual that feels wrong at first, because it's not what your panic wants, but becomes your default over time. Start by catching your first physical tell, not your 15th thought. Everyone has a signature. For some, it's a micro freeze in the chest. For some, it's a buzzing feeling in the hands. For some, it's heat in the face or a knot in the stomach. For others, it's a sudden urge to look at anything except the person or the problem. You don't fight that signal. You name it. This is fear, not truth. Not this is a sign I'm weak. Not this is proof I'm failing. Just, this is my body remembering old danger. That one line breaks the spell a little. Fear wants to pretend it is reality. You remind yourself it's just a signal. Important but not king. Then you move to the first lever, breath. Fear makes you inhale like you're drowning. Short, sharp, up in the chest. You flip it. No drama, no spiritual ceremony. Just a mechanical rule. Longer out than in. In slowly through the nose, out a little slower through the mouth. In for a count of 3, out for a count of 4 or 5. You do this once, nothing changes. You do it 3 times in a row, something small shifts. Your body gets mixed messages. The heart is racing, but the breath pattern says, we're not sprinting. Over time, your nervous system starts to adjust its story. Pressure, immediate collapse. Next lever, posture. Under fear, your body tries to make you physically smaller. Shoulders roll forward, back curls slightly, neck tucks, arms cross over the chest or hide behind objects. The room reads this instantly. You look like you want to disappear. You might be saying all the right words, but your spine is apologizing for existing. You do the opposite. Not a fake superhero pose, just no shrinking. Feet flat on the ground, knees soft, not locked. Spine long, like someone gently pulling a string from the top of your head. Shoulders relaxed back and down, not stiff. Hands visible, resting on the table, loosely linked or at your sides, not clamped over your face or mouth. You're sending a new message. I might be scared, but I am not leaving my own body. Then comes the third lever, eyes. When panic hits, your eyes try to escape. They dart to exits, screens, floors, ceilings, anywhere but the situation. The second your gaze breaks, everyone feels it. You're gone. You anchor your eyes on purpose. If you're talking to a person, you look at their face, cycling gently between eyes, nose, and mouth so it doesn't feel like a stare. If you're facing a group, you pick one calm point, a pair of eyes, a spot on the back wall, and return to it. If you're alone with a message or an email, you keep your eyes on the text instead of fleeing to another tab. You're not trying to dominate. You're just refusing to run. Machiavelli understood that fear is one of the main levers of human behavior. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. You can't remove fear from the list, but you can stop being dragged by it like a puppet. You make fear just one voice, not the dictator. There's a dangerous lie in pop culture. If you're scared, just push harder, ignore it, grind through. That's how people snap. That's how panic attacks get worse. That's how you end up agreeing to things, yelling, or shutting down in ways you don't even recognize later. This reset is not about pretending nothing is wrong. If you're dealing with serious anxiety, panic attacks, or thoughts of self-harm or hurting others, this is not enough on its own. You need real help, a professional, a counselor, a doctor, a trusted person, or a helpline in your country. Changing your breathing and posture is armor, not therapy. You still deserve proper support. But inside that bigger picture, you can still build this ritual. Fear hits. You notice the first tell. You label it as fear, not fact. You slow your exhale. You widen your posture instead of shrinking. You anchor your gaze instead of fleeing. You don't rush to speak. The urge will be there, to fill the space, to explain, to apologize, to promise. You let 10 seconds exist before you commit your mouth to anything. 10 seconds where your body is relearning who's in charge. From the outside, this doesn't look dramatic, it looks boring. Someone challenges you, calls you out, pressures you. You pause. You breathe. You keep your frame open. You look at them instead of at the floor. Only then do you answer. Inside, you might still be shaking. That's fine. The goal is not to feel like a god. The goal is to behave like someone who doesn't shatter on cue. The feeling will catch up later, after enough repetitions. Your body is like a frightened animal that has been allowed to decide everything for years. It bolts at every noise because it never learned anything else. The dark reset is you taking the leash back, not by beating it into silence, but by walking it through stress until it learns. Noise doesn't always mean danger. Pressure doesn't always mean collapse. Fear doesn't always mean we obey. Scene by scene, the pattern changes. Your body doesn't instantly forget fear, but it stops treating it like a command and starts treating it like a notification. Your rituals, breath, posture, gaze become the real orders. That's the beginning. Not mind hacks, not fake swagger, just a new sequence that you run every single time fear shows up until your system gets bored of panicking and starts following you instead. You've already felt the pattern. Pressure hits, your body jumps first. Thoughts arrive late, like passengers trying to grab the wheel of a car that's already sliding. You don't fix that in the middle of a crash. You fix it in the hours when nothing serious is happening and your nervous system thinks it's safe to stay lazy. If you only remember the reset when everything is on fire, you will fold. Not because you're weak, but because your body has more reps in panic than in discipline. The only way to tilt that balance is repetition. Boring, deliberate, unglamorous repetition. Machiavelli understood that big moments belong to those who trained in small ones. Never was anything great achieved without danger. You don't jump straight into war. You rehearse with controlled danger, little doses your system can survive while learning a new script. Start with the lowest level, drills when nobody is watching. Take one simple thing that stresses your body but doesn't actually threaten your life. cold water on your face, a 45-second cold shower at the end, a wall sit, a plank hold, holding your hands in ice water. Anything that makes your heart rate climb a bit and your breath want to speed. You are not doing this to prove you're hardcore. You're doing it to practice the reset under a small, clean stress. The second the discomfort hits, your old pattern will show up. Tighten, rush, hold your breath, mentally scream. That's your cue. You run the sequence. Longer exhale, then inhale. Shoulders down and open, not hunched. Eyes fixed on a point instead of squeezing shut or darting. You stay for the time you chose. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. Then you stop on purpose. No collapse to the floor, no dramatic gasp. You just return to normal, breathing steady. You've just sent your nervous system a new file. We felt a physical spike and didn't abandon ourselves. That's 1 rep. Repeat it often enough and something strange happens. The next time fear hits out of nowhere, your body remembers that same breathing pattern, that same posture. The new script starts loading by itself. Then you move up a level, small social danger. You pick tiny situations where your body usually tenses, asking a simple question in a meeting, disagreeing politely instead of nodding, taking a little longer before answering a text, saying, "I need time to think about that," instead of giving an instant yes. Right before you do it, the same tells show up. Tight chest, weird hands, jumpy mind, perfect. That's your training ground. You do not wait to feel ready. You run the reset and move anyway. Slow exhale. Open posture. Eyes on the person instead of the floor or your phone. Then the sentence. Short, direct, no apology. I don't see it that way. I have a question. I'll reply after I look at my schedule. You're teaching your body that fear and action can exist in the same moment. The fear doesn't have to vanish before you speak. It just doesn't get to write the sentence anymore. Write down 3 short lines that will be your standard replies under pressure. Nothing poetic, just phrases that buy you time without folding. I heard you. I'll think and get back to you. I'm not ready to answer that right now. I need a minute before I respond. Memorize them like a script. When your brain blanks, these lines jump in. While your mouth buys time, your body runs the reset. Breath, posture, gaze. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." The fool calms down hours later in bed and thinks, "That's what I should have said. That's how I should have stood." The wiser version of you starts acting like that now while still scared. Not perfect, just less collapsed. Build a tiny scoreboard for yourself, not of feelings, but of behavior. Times you felt fear and still slowed your exhale. Times you felt fear and kept your shoulders open. Times you felt fear and kept your eyes from running. Times you bought yourself time instead of blurting a panic answer. You don't need a journal full of essays. 3 lines at night are enough. If you see even 1 win on a bad day, that's proof. The old script isn't the only one running anymore. Also notice when the reset fails, when you rushed, lied, snapped, overpromised. Don't turn that into self-hate. Just track the moment before it went wrong. What was the first physical tell? Where were you? Who was there? You're studying your own battlefield. If you are dealing with real clinical anxiety, panic attacks that shut your body down, or thoughts of hurting yourself or others, these drills are not a replacement for real help. They're a supplement. You still reach out to a therapist, a counselor, a doctor, a trusted person. You still use helplines if things get dark. No ritual replaces actual support. This reset is armor, not a cure. As you train, the idea of confidence starts to change in your head. It stops being about never feeling fear and starts being about never leaving yourself when fear shows up. Confidence becomes, I can feel my heart race and still breathe slow. I can feel my stomach drop and still stand tall. I can feel my mind scream and still ask for time. The world will keep testing you. messages at bad times, public mistakes, unexpected attacks. You are not building a fantasy where that stops. You are building a body that does not crumble every time it happens. Scene by scene, rep by rep, your nervous system starts trusting you again. It sees that you won't automatically throw yourself under the bus to please pressure. It learns that discomfort is survivable. It starts ringing a smaller bell. Fear knocks. You feel it. You don't pretend it's not there. You just stop handing it your spine, your lungs, your eyes, and your calendar. Fear hits hardest when it comes with an audience. A mistake on screen while people are watching. Your name in a harder tone in a meeting. Someone says, "We need to talk," and shuts the door. Your body doesn't wait to see if it's fatal. It reacts like it already knows the ending. Heart jumps, mouth dries, mind races, voice climbs. What happens next is usually automatic. You rush to fill the silence. You over-explain, over-apologize, over-promise. You try to buy safety with words. Later you feel sick about everything you agreed to and everything you said. The dark reset is about interrupting that sequence in the one place you still have leverage, the few seconds between the hit and your mouth opening. Machiavelli wrote, "He who is slow to believe and to act is not easily deceived or ruined." Fear makes you fast. You become easy to deceive and easy to ruin because you move before you see. Your body sprints. Your judgment limps behind. The reset flips this. Your body moves slower on purpose so your mind can catch up. Think of a 3-step script. Receive, regulate, respond. You don't blend them. You don't speak while your system is still exploding. You move through them in order. Even if everyone else in the room wants an instant performance, receive. When pressure hits, you let it land instead of dodging it with chatter. Someone says, "This wasn't good enough." Instead of instantly defending, you stay still. You feel the physical wave, chest, throat, stomach. You don't fight the feeling, you label it in your head. Fear, not "I'm worthless," not "they hate me," just "this is fear." That single word stops you from merging with the feeling. You are not fear. You are someone noticing fear arrive. That little distance is where control starts. You keep your shoulders from folding. You keep your eyes from fleeing. You let 2 or 3 seconds exist where you do nothing but breathe out slower than you breathed in. Nobody teaches you this because it doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't win arguments, but it keeps you from selling your spine for approval. Regulate. Once the first spike passes, you give your body new orders. Breath, still longer out than in. Posture, open, not aggressive. Eyes, on the person or a fixed point near them, not on the floor. You're not doing it to look confident. You're doing it so your nervous system doesn't drag you into sprint mode. The slower you move here, the less likely you are to agree to insane deadlines, fake confessions, or self-blame just to make the discomfort end. You also use one simple sentence that buys you time. I hear you. Not "you're right," not "I'm trash," not "relax," just I hear you. That line acknowledges without surrendering. It holds the space long enough for you to think instead of react. Then you add a second line if you need more room. I want to respond properly. Give me a moment. You're training the room and your body together. You no longer give rushed answers just because someone else's anxiety demands speed. Respond. Only after your breath settles a little, your posture is open, and your gaze is anchored. Do you speak in real terms? You keep your sentences short. Fear wants paragraphs. Panic wants a flood. You give the opposite. What exactly needs to change? Here's what I can do by date. Here's what I own, and here's what I don't. You move from shame to structure. Not, "I'm so stupid, I always mess things up," but, "This part was my mistake. Here's how I'll fix it." You're not dodging responsibility. You're refusing to let fear turn responsibility into self-destruction. If someone is actually attacking you, not giving feedback but venting their frustration on you, you still run the same sequence. Receive, regulate, respond. But your responses change. I understand you're upset. I'm willing to talk about solutions, not insults. I'll discuss the work. I won't take personal attacks. You say it calmly, from a body that doesn't shrink. If they keep going, you end the conversation instead of staying as a punching bag. Your nervous system will beg you to keep pleasing them. You ignore it. That's the reset at its sharpest. There's another kind of pressure, the internal one when you've made a public mistake. Mispronouncing something on camera, saying the wrong number in front of people, sending the wrong message. The room laughs or goes silent, and your body tries to die on the spot. Old script. Face burns. Eyes drop. Nervous rambling. You either vanish into yourself or overcompensate. New script. You catch your first physical tell. You slow your exhale. You keep your posture from collapsing. You let yourself smile once, small and controlled. Then you correct simply, my mistake, the right number is, let me fix that. What I meant was, no drama, no over-explaining, no 10-minute apology tour. Your body wants to act like it's the end of the world. You treat it like a minor correction. Over time, your nervous system learns to copy that scale. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune favors the bold." Bold doesn't mean loud. Bold here means you're willing to feel fear fully and still stay in the moment instead of fleeing into lies, excuses, or collapse. The fortune you get isn't magic, it's trust. People trust the person whose body doesn't disappear every time something goes wrong. This doesn't mean you swallow everything. Fear will try to make you either submit to every demand or explode just to get control back. The reset keeps you in the third lane, firm without panic. When someone pushes too hard, unrealistic deadline, unfair blame, disrespect, you don't argue from a shaking voice. You go back to the ritual. Breathe out slower, shoulders open, eyes steady. Then lines like, "That's not possible on that timeline. Here's what is. I won't accept all of that blame. Here's the part I own." If we keep talking like this, I'll step away and we can pick it up later. You're not bargaining with your worth. You're negotiating reality. If your fear runs deeper, panic attacks, constant dread, thoughts of hurting yourself or others, none of this replaces real help. You still reach out. Therapy, counseling, a trusted person, or a helpline in your country. The reset doesn't cure what needs treatment. It keeps you from losing every small battle while you work on the bigger war with support. What changes over time is not that you stop feeling fear. It's that your body gets bored of panicking in the same old way. Every time you choose slow breath over gasping, open posture over shrinking, and direct response over word vomit, you record a new memory. We were scared and we stayed. Fear comes back, plays the old tape, and your body has proof that another ending is possible. Eventually, the new ending becomes the default. Hit, pause, reset, response. You didn't erase fear. You made it irrelevant to how you carry yourself when it matters. Fear doesn't just live in your heartbeat or your breath. It lives in your identity. I'm just an anxious person. I'm not good under pressure. I always choke. Say something to yourself enough times and your body stops checking if it's still true. It just obeys. The label becomes a command. Your shoulders slump the second you walk into a serious room before anyone even looks at you. The dark reset goes further than tricks and drills. It rewrites what your body thinks you are when things get hard, not by lying, but by teaching it a different pattern so many times that the old one rots. Machiavelli noticed that the people who survived weren't the loudest. They were the ones who adapted when reality shifted. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. Your times have changed. You're not the kid in the classroom anymore, or the junior who took every hit, but your conduct, your body language under pressure, still belongs to that old version. You're dragging a frightened identity into rooms that require a colder one. So you build a new identity in a way your nervous system understands, through evidence, not affirmations. You start keeping a quiet ledger, not of feelings, of moments. Moments you felt fear and slowed your exhale instead of gasping, kept your posture open instead of folding, held your gaze instead of fleeing, bought time instead of blurting a yes. You don't write essays about it. One line is enough. Call from X, chest tight, slowed breath, said, "I'll reply after I check." Stayed upright. Meeting, got called out, wanted to explain everything, instead asked, "What specifically needs to change?" This is not journaling for therapy. This is a war log. You're showing your body black and white proof. We felt fear and did not die. We felt fear and did not crawl. Fear is persuasive because it points at your worst moments and says, "See? That's who you really are." Your log gives you counter-evidence. No. This is who we were last week. This is who we were yesterday afternoon. You do the same with losses, but without drama. Rushed answer, agreed to dumb deadline, felt it coming, didn't run the reset. No insults. No, I'm pathetic. Just cause and effect. Your body starts to understand that folding has a cost, not just a release. That sting helps it accept the discomfort of the reset next time. There's another layer, your environment. Your nervous system is not just responding to events. It's reading cues, lighting, posture of others, your phone, your caffeine, your sleep. You'll never remove all fear, but you can stop giving it free weapons. Too much caffeine? Your baseline heart rate is already high. Fear has less distance to travel. Constant notifications? Your body never leaves alert mode. Every ping feels like a threat. Slouched on your phone all day? Your spine is rehearsing collapse as your default state. You make small, boring changes that add up. You delay caffeine until after you've been awake a little while and breathed like a human, not a device. You silence non-essential notifications during blocks where you know pressure might come. You stop scrolling in the exact posture you hate seeing yourself in when you're nervous. Curled, neck bent, shoulders collapsed. You're not becoming a monk. You're just making sure you're not practicing fear for 8 hours and then expecting calm in the 9th. Machiavelli warned that people who wait for disaster to change get destroyed by it. The wise man does it once, what the fool does at last. You stop waiting for breakdowns to finally take this seriously. You act like someone who expects pressure and trains for it in advance. You also look at your circle. Your body doesn't panic in a vacuum. It learned that certain people mean danger. The one who snaps, the one who mocks, the one who remembers every mistake you made and recites them like a list. Around those people, your reset has to be sharper, not sweeter, sharper. When they raise their voice, your old habit is to shrink twice as fast. You deliberately don't. When they dig for guilt, your old habit is to confess things you didn't even do just to calm them. You deliberately don't. You run the same script. Breath out, shoulders open, eyes steady. Then simple lines. I'll talk about this when you're calmer. I'm willing to discuss facts, not insults. I'm not taking all of that on. If they escalate, you exit. Your body will scream at you to go back, to fix, to please. You ignore it. That's a new identity forming. Someone who doesn't trade their nervous system for someone else's comfort. If your fear is linked to real trauma or ongoing abuse, this isn't just about posture and breathing. It's about safety. The reset is not a shield against real harm. For that, you need support. Trusted people, professionals, sometimes legal or organizational help. You're not meant to breathe through genuine danger. You're meant to get out. Within normal pressure, work, conflict, expectations, public mistakes. You're doing something much colder. You are teaching your body that fear is no longer the ultimate authority on what you do next. You even rehearse the what-ifs your brain throws at you. What if I freeze during the presentation? What if they shout at me in front of everyone? What if I forget what to say? You stop treating those images like curses. You walk through them like drills. If I freeze, I breathe out, look at my notes or slides and say, let me restart that sentence. If they shout, I keep my shoulders open and say, if we're just venting, I'll step out. If we're solving something, I'm listening. If I forget, I admit it. I've lost my thread. I'll answer that after I check the numbers. Your body gets used to the idea that failure is survivable. Fear loses its favorite lie. If this goes wrong, everything is over. You also build 2 daily checkpoints, both under your control. Morning, one small act that feels like controlled stress. Cold water, a short, hard exercise burst. A tiny confrontation with discomfort. Not to punish yourself. To remind your system, we face, we don't flee. Night, a short review of where fear won and where you did. No speeches, just here I folded, here I stayed. If you notice that fear is ruling every scene, if you're constantly overwhelmed, can't function, or your thoughts are going to dark places like self-harm or not wanting to be alive, you do not try to dark reset that alone. That's the line where bravery is asking for help, not forcing yourself to endure more. You reach out, therapist, counselor, doctor, trusted person, or a helpline in your country. The method is for pressure, not for crises. Slowly something changes underneath. You still feel fear, but it's not a command anymore. You still hate certain moments, but you don't vanish inside them. You still make mistakes, but your body doesn't act like each one is a death sentence. Other people see it before you do. They start coming to you when things go wrong because you don't spin out. They start trusting you with more responsibility, not because you never feel fear, but because you don't broadcast it with every muscle. Your identity shifts from I panic to I hold. And once your body believes that, fear truly does start to fade, not because it's gone, but because it's bored. It keeps knocking and you keep doing the same slow breath, same open posture, same steady gaze. Eventually, your nervous system chooses efficiency over drama. You stop praying for a life with no pressure. You start becoming the person whose body doesn't fold when pressure comes. That was the point all along. There's a moment when the game changes. Pressure hits, your chest tightens, your thoughts flash, and your body doesn't bolt. Not because you're suddenly fearless, but because your muscles have seen this scene before and learned a different ending. That's when the reset stops feeling like a trick and starts feeling like your default. The question now isn't, how do I calm down? The question is, what kind of person am I going to be with this new control? Fear used to decide your role. The apologizer, the explainer, the one who shakes, the one who laughs everything off. Now your body is less chaotic. That means you're dangerous in a new way. When other people are scrambling, your system doesn't explode as fast. Rooms feel that. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." The fool waits until after the disaster to get calm, lying awake at 3 a.m., replaying the scene, finally thinking of the right sentence, the right posture, the right move. The wiser version of you doesn't wait for the safety of hindsight. You bring that calm into the scene. That is what your reset has been training for. Now you start using it deliberately. You stop treating your day like a stream of random hits and start designing it like a field you intend to walk across under fire. That sounds dramatic. The reality is plain. You choose your starts. You choose your battles. You choose what your body rehearses. You begin with the first hour. Before, your mornings belonged to your phone. You woke up and fed your nervous system a mix of noise, notifications, bad news, messages that pulled you into 10 different futures. Your body started the day as if it was already behind. Now the first hour is a border. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need 3 things to happen in the same order every morning. One act that wakes your body on your terms. Stretching, a short walk, a few push-ups, cold water, anything that says, We move when we decide, not when fear decides. One act that watches your breath. A few slow inhales and longer exhales while sitting or standing, teaching your lungs the pattern you expect under stress. One act that sets your posture. 2 minutes standing or sitting tall, shoulders open, neck free, eyes looking straight ahead, not at a screen, but at the room you're in. You're telling your body at the start of each day, this is our base state. So when fear comes later, it has to fight through that baseline, not drag you from zero. Then you build rituals around the known choke points. If calls scare you, you don't avoid them forever. You script them. Before you answer, you steal 10 seconds. Exhale slower. Unclench your jaw. Sit or stand with your chest open, not folded. You decide one default line for hard calls. Give me the outline of the problem. That one sentence keeps you from instantly apologizing or defending. It anchors your body in curiosity instead of collapse. If meetings crush you, you give yourself a pre-meeting reset, not a motivational speech. Just 2 slow breaths in the hallway, 1 check of posture, 1 clear intention. I will not rush my answers. Then during the meeting, you use tiny physical checkpoints. When someone asks you something complex, you let 1 full exhale happen before you speak. If you feel your voice trying to climb, you consciously lower your volume instead of raising it. If your shoulders start to curl, you roll them back once, quietly, like you're adjusting your shirt. Nobody sees these as rituals. They just see someone who doesn't crumble the second attention lands on them. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Your version. It is not calm situations that make you composed. It is your composure that makes situations calm. You stop begging for a softer life and start bringing a harder spine into the life you already have. There's a darker benefit to this. You become harder to move. People who used to control you with tone and timing notice something is off. They raise their voice. Your posture doesn't fold. They demand an instant answer. You say, "I'll get back to you," in a steady voice. They try to rush you into yes. You default to, "I'll confirm after I check." At first, they will push harder. They're used to the old version of you, the one who rushed, panicked, agreed, then quietly suffered. Your body will itch to go back to that. It will beg for the short-term relief of giving in. You don't. You let the discomfort exist in your chest while your actions follow the new script. Slow breath, open frame, anchored gaze, simple sentences. This is where the reset becomes dark in the sense Machiavelli would recognize. You are no longer governed by immediate pain. You can feel it fully and still act in your long-term interest. That is rare. That is power. You also clean up your relationship with mistakes. Before, every error was a personal verdict. Your body reacted like every misstep proved you were broken. So under pressure, you either lied to hide mistakes or exaggerated them to punish yourself before anyone else could. Both responses kept you weak. Now, an error appears. Your chest spikes. Your stomach drops. You run the same ritual. Then you answer in structure, not shame. This part was wrong. Here's the correction. This deadline was unrealistic. Here's the new one I can hit. This was my responsibility. Here's how I'll prevent a repeat. Short, concrete, no self-attack, no self-pity. Your body learns that mistakes lead to adjustments, not executions. Fear loses another one of its favorite weapons. None of this means you ignore real mental health problems. If you are in a place where your fear has turned into full-blown anxiety that doesn't switch off, panic attacks that take over your body, or thoughts of hurting yourself or not wanting to be alive, this method is not enough alone. That's the line where discipline and rituals must be backed by help. Therapy, counseling, doctors, trusted people, helplines where you live. You're not weak for needing that. You're smart for not trying to muscle your way through something bigger than a habit. But for the daily pressures, the messages, the calls, the public moments, the conflicts, this reset becomes your infrastructure. You end each day with a blunt audit. Where did I let fear drive? Where did I feel fear and still hold my frame? You don't rate yourself on how you felt. Feelings are wild. You rate yourself on what your body did. Breath, posture, gaze, words. Over weeks, the story your nervous system tells about you shifts. From we collapse when people are angry, to we stay upright when people are angry. From we babble when we're unsure, to we slow down and buy time when we're unsure. From we disappear when we're watched, to we can be seen and not die. Fear still knocks. It always will. But your body eventually stops reacting like every knock means fire. It hears the alarm and waits for your command. That's what forgetting really is here. Not amnesia. Not numbness. Reclassification. Fear is no longer the ruler of your muscles. It's just one notification in the system. Outside, people will give it names. You're calm under pressure? You don't rattle easily. You're solid when things go wrong. Inside, you know the truth. You're not magically calm. You just trained yourself not to abandon your own body every time it gets loud. You own your breath. You own your frame. You own your gaze. And because you own those three, fear doesn't own you.